Hey, what's up, everybody? BDL44 coming at you with another video. All right, so the LA Lakers. Yeah, man, we play the Grizzlies today. It's 7 o'clock for game 4. And of course, we won game 3. Half the game was good, half the game wasn't as good. And we talked a lot about it. Last night, I gave you guys a rundown of some things that I thought would work for this team and this matchup. Um, Said some things I liked, said some things I didn't like in regards to rotations and stuff like that. But ultimately, we're seeing the same team for the fourth time in a row. And what I did was I watched highlights of our matchups against the Memphis Grizzlies before making this video, just to get a refresher on just about everything there was to see in regards to us versus them regular season and playoffs. What I took from this uh, little roundup of watching film was that Rui Hachimura can score against them anytime he wants. Since we've acquired him, he's been kicking their behind, regardless of what the situation is, playoff, regular season, our floor, their floor. If he's on the floor, he's scoring on them. And they've been having trouble scoring, having trouble guarding him and defeating him in any way. So we need to try to take a snapshot and understand that not only is he kicking their butt in this playoff series and is hot against them now, he's not hot against them every time he sees them. He has something against the Memphis Grizzlies, and I'm starting to understand this. So we got to continue to use Rui Hachimura the way we have been, because he don't miss much against the Grizzlies. They keep putting people like Saldama in front of him, and he keeps barreling straight through them. And one threes are falling. It's been pretty since he's been here against them. So that's the first thing I wanted to say. The next thing I wanted to say is, in the very first matchup against the Grizzlies, I think most of us have forgotten, that was a thriller, man. They had a pretty sizable lead, I think, or something like that, and then we ended up coughing it up. We had a sizable lead, ended up coughing it up, or they had a sizable lead and ended up coughing it up, but whatever the case may be, it took some heroics down the stretch of the basketball game for the lead to be erased and for the teams to ultimately have a strong situation there. I think it was them who blew the lead. I think they had like a 9-point lead and we came roaring back. I think that's how that went. I've watched so many highlights of those teams. It's just, yeah, it's all bleeds and blurs together. But I can tell you this. We did get that game in demonstrative fashion, and Schroeder was the guy who really balled out down the stretch of that basketball game. He has not had a good series against them through 3 games of these playoffs, but he did have a very good regular season against these Memphis Grizzlies. I don't want us or him to forget that. You've balled out against this team. That's a good matchup for you. You should be able to attack them for the rest of this series and get some better play. In the last game, he was aggressive, but it was a whole lot of nothing. Effort that turned into a whole lot of nothing. And really, Dennis Schroeder's a much better player than what we've seen through 3 games. So he's somebody I've been calling out for the last 2 games to step up. I think he has the talent to give us all that we need, the point guard position, if for some reason D'Lo is continuing to struggle. So I need that. I don't need him to struggle like he's been struggling. We need more than Austin Reeves and LeBron James to be playing well in regards to the series. Now, I got to say that with an asterisk next to it, because D'Lo is playing well. He's just not shooting well. And because he's not shooting well, those shots that he's missing are turning into problems for the team. Transition buckets, situations that would otherwise force us to play more defense than necessary. At the end of the day, we need D'Lo to be more intentional with his possessions. And that's really something that's already been said. So that's the only thing about breaking down these games in the playoffs. A lot of the stuff that I want to say has already been said, because there's no, we're seeing the same team. But what we do know is that if we don't come in and focus on what it is their weapons are, they can catch us off guard with different players who would take on bigger roles and ultimately hit us harder than maybe they were able to in the first 2 games. Now, granted, the main thing for us is to try to find some way to slow down John Morant. With 22 points in the fourth quarter in that last matchup, it's very obvious that we've had trouble guarding him. Same goes with the games in the regular season. He had a pretty good game in that first one where they rushed against us and ended up coughing up the lead. He was a big part of why they got that lead. And of course, in the second matchup, he wasn't. I think it was one of those situations where he wasn't down there or something like that. I think he had missed that game or something like that. I don't know if that was the second game or not. No, the second one was the game where we lost. We went into, we allowed him to walk into our gym and proceed to score, I think, 25 points, 26 points in the third quarter, where he walked away with a 30-plus point triple-double in a victory against us. And in the third matchup, he wasn't there, and we were able to knock him down where Rui Hachimura had the big game. I think Schroeder had some big games Bron shot the ball well. AD played well in all of those games. I think that's how they went. I think Bron actually didn't play in that game, if I got that right. So it's a lot of games, man. We've played the Memphis Grizzlies 3 times in the regular season, and so far 3 times in the postseason. And we've only lost 2 of those matchups. But we did turn the ball over in more than them in the majority of those matchups. So that is something to talk about. Gotta stop turning the ball over, man. At the end of the day, this is a Memphis Grizzlies team that's going to get some steals. We're playing defense, so we're definitely forcing the issue, taking possessions back from them. But at the end of the day, we need to limit the possessions we give to these guys. Bottom line, they got some good shooters over there. They got Jaren Jackson. They got Ja Morant back. They don't need to be seeing anything extra in regards to possessions from us. So that's one of the things that I want us to definitely shore up. Rotation-wise, we just want to see what the data has shown us be shored up. If we know certain things don't work, get away from them. If you know certain things do, let's lean into those. That's what we want to say now. At this point, it's nothing new. We know who we're running into. You got Luke Kennard shooting the ball. You got Desmond Bain shooting the ball. You got Jaren Jackson in the paint. You got Hillman in the paint. Or is it Tillman? Tillman. So that's really what it comes down to. If you're not ready to defend against these guys, at this point, you're just asking for it. You know what they can do. Ja Morant was able to pick us apart. So we got to build a wall around this man. We got to put defensive players in front of him and, of course, hunt him out on defense and turn him into a fouler. It's always what I say works, but we really want to make that intentional. Jaren Jackson has been playing far too many minutes in this series. We have not done a good job exploiting his major weakness, which is to get him in foul trouble. He stays in foul trouble in the regular season. Why is he playing so comfortably and freely throughout these games? Let's get this man off the floor and expose their interior size concerns, because they have them, especially since they refuse to play Lofton. So this is a situation where I expect them to call on him at any moment. I know what he can do. So this is what I've been trying to prepare us for. Each and every game, I expect for him to have his number called and play big minutes at some point. If it never comes, happy it doesn't. But at any given moment, I think Taylor Jenkins has the option to catch us off guard with that player. So we need to not allow it to happen. Brooks, Roddy, Tyus, these guys are shooting poorly right now. I don't know if that's going to carry over from Game 3 to Game 4, but they have not had a good shooting series for their standards. Dylan Brooks has, because he always bricks. But those other two, Tyus Jones, I expect for him to start shooting better. He didn't hit a single shot in the last game. I think he's going to come out with a certain level of fire and intensity off of that bench behind Ja Morant. He did not shake Anthony Davis' hand at the end of the game. That just speaks to what he thinks of what is important in regards to drawing a line in the sand against his opponent. And as far as I could tell, that's not going to save him. That ain't going to save him. Disrespecting Anthony Davis is only going to make him want to come at you even harder. And that's exactly what I expect AD to do. But I do expect Jaren Jackson to have a big game. And the reason why I say that is because that putback dunk that he had in the very first matchup against him stands out in my mind. He had a hell of a putback. He caught that thing from far away and dunked it off an offensive rebound situation. So I just expect after a loss, he particularly is going to want to get a win on the road. I think this is one of those games where Memphis feels if they're going to win this series, they must win one here. And it's better to try to win one now than to wait and see if you can get lucky enough to come back here. Obviously, they don't want to go down 3-1 on top of that. But I just think if I'm the guy on the team that plays both sides, if I'm Jaren Jackson, I feel confident that I already got one in my house. The next thing to do if you're trying to win is to get one on the road, and it's going to be on him to try to lead them to that, and it's going to be on Anthony Davis to try to stop him from that. And, of course, we do that as a team as a whole, but at the end of the day, it's AD who's bringing that fire to match his fire, and that's what I'm expecting to see. Anthony Davis fired up is a player that Memphis Grizzlies don't want to see. Anthony Davis from Game 2 is a player none of us want to have on our team. At the end of the day, 14 points, 4 of 14 in Game 2 or whatever that was, that's not the Anthony Davis that we need. We need Anthony Davis from Game 3 to come back once again and continue to play on both sides of the floor where he was dominant, as he always is. particularly defensively, blocking shots and all of that. But offensively is where we really need him to continue to carry over from that last game. So Austin Reeves, I want to see him continue to be aggressive, particularly down the stretch of basketball games. If it makes sense for him to take more shots down the stretch of games, I think it's something we should be looking to give him, because at the end of the day, he was certainly an intricate part in us getting that first win against this team in the playoffs. And he always plays a big role in regards to helping us keep both production on both sides of the floor. So if we're not utilizing him to the fullest of what we can, then we're not a better team. We got to utilize Austin. We got to see him as one of our stars at this point, and structure a lot of what we do around making him shine, because that in turn is going to make it so that we're more efficient and that other people are getting the ball as well. So these are things that are just natural to think about when you're considering our roster. And I think that's really what it is. We try too hard to make things difficult for ourselves, it seems, by going in certain rotational situations and trying to showcase certain players who are struggling, as we talk about all the time. I think in the playoffs, you just want to kind of lean more so on stuff that works, which is why teams shorten their bench. I don't think you have to shorten your bench necessarily to do that, though. I just think that you take the players that you want to have featured in those roles, and then you take some of the players that you otherwise don't use positionally, or rather that you don't use, and slot them in traditional position roles. For example, I know Rui's a natural 3 or 4. So in a situation where I want to showcase, let's say I want to showcase Malik Beasley, or I'm going to make sure that I don't do anything funky with Rui Hachimura. He's going to be positioned correctly. He's not going to be playing 2. He ain't going to be playing 5. I'm going to position him in where he's supposed to be slotted so that we can have more traditional lineups while we feature the struggling Malik Beasley. Now, that's what I do. I don't, because a lot of times I think we do a lot of other stuff, toy around with certain things. Putting Schroeder and Beasley on the floor is never a good idea. Lonnie, Beasley, never a good idea. Schroeder, Lonnie, none of that, because those players are just simply too short to otherwise do what it is that we ultimately want them to do on the boards and things like that, as we talk about every day. But these are the type of things that we go to in the second unit. When you go to Beasley and Schroeder, Troy Brown, you're just asking for trouble. You put Braun down there in the mix of that, his plus minus goes to the pits when we do that. So these are the type of things that we do very often, tend to cater to us giving back leads. And it's really the only thing to really consider when we're talking about our team. Otherwise, we're a dominant force. Defensively, offensively, regardless if guys are struggling or not, we tend to find ways of getting production where we need it. And it's going to be somebody different every night. So you just have no idea. And I love that dynamic about our squad. So maybe this is a heavy Braun night. Maybe he has upwards of 40 points, gives Dylan that 40 he's looking for. I don't know. Maybe this is a heavy AD night, even though every night's a heavy AD night. Hopefully he gives us more scoring than usual. Who knows? Maybe Rui returns again with another 30-point game. I don't know what to say other than we have options. So hopefully the team will utilize those and not stay in a situation that struggles for any length of time. If it's D'Lo bricking shots or turning the ball over, whatever, we can get away from it, and we have plenty of players to play. So Lonnie Walker is a player who got some playing time in that game where Braun was missing. I believe it was the third matchup. We sent him in there. He had a high fly dunk, that kind of thing. I just think this is a series where you can utilize what he does. You can use Lonnie Walker in this series. I would love to see him get a little playing time in this game, see if he can do something for us. I think it's a mistake not turning to him for a multitude of reasons, but none more so than the fact that he can put easy pressure on the rim. And, of course, we've talked a lot about that. It's something that we just want to see our coach respect that Lonnie can do for us, and respect that we're really not getting that from too many other places right now. So that's really what it comes down to, man. I'm excited about this particular matchup because this is one of those games where if you win it, you give yourself a 3-1 cushion, and then you can head back to Memphis and see yourself close that team out, as to which would give us a lot of rest and an opportunity to be ready for Golden State or Sacramento. Now, I know everybody's heard that De'Aaron Fox fractured his pinky finger on his left hand. I think he's going to play straight through that. I don't even really know if that's going to even slow him down for Game 5, to be honest with you. So I still expect that everything's going to be just fine for them, except for the fact that now we can note that if we see the Sacramento Kings, De'Aaron Fox is dealing with a pinky on his left hand, and Sabonis is dealing with a thumb on his right hand. Their main players got digit issues that are not going to be going away as these series progress. Take that nugget for what it's worth. But that's a real thing. Just like we got foot issues, they got hand issues. I think that'll translate to some turnovers, maybe some late game turnovers for De'Aaron Fox when it comes to you wanting to dribble and get everything done correctly. Having problems gripping the ball, yeah, that's going to be a thing for him. So I can totally see where he'll be hampered, even though I expect him to play through it. So, yeah, man, that's what's going on. Looking at the Memphis Grizzlies, of course, though, we don't want to overlook them. I expect John Morant to come out and have a triple-double at 30 points, man. We don't have any real defense that I've seen in those games that he played that really slowed him down at all. I'm not going to hold you. Vanderbilt ain't slowing him down. Austin ain't slowing him down. Nobody we're throwing in front of Josh slowing him down. So I don't know if we're going to try to figure out something that does slow him down or just let him get his points. The problem with letting him get his points is Jaren is probably going to be able to get his while that's happening, and you don't want both of them going for 40. You do not want that because that's Bane and Kennard and the rest of those guys making up for it, and you're going to lose. So you can't let them score like that. We got to figure out something in regards to Ja. We can't look at the data from the last couple of games and assume we're just going to win these games because at the end of the day, they got something that we haven't been able to stop. And if he starts that process the way he did in the fourth quarter and plays like that all game, there's no guarantee he doesn't connect on most of those possessions if we don't figure something out. So that's really what it comes down to. We got to stop Ja. We got to do something that works, and we got to figure it out soon. Or else this series is going to expand, and as we always say, the further this series expands, the more it leans in on Memphis because they're a younger team, and these games are going to be played closer and closer together as they progress. So let's win this one. This is a must-win for us in terms of rest, in terms of getting some cushion in regards to this team, being able to have some breathing room between us and them in these standings, and ultimately sending them home, which should be what we respect from ourselves at this point, given the fact they've talked so much about us, said whatever they had to say, and then came out and didn't bring it in Game 3. I just think they need to go home now. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I'm a Laker fan of 30 years almost. And when you talk as much as the Memphis Grizzlies do, what you do not do is come out and play your worst, especially when the playoffs is going on. I lost all respect for their team, man. Like, I'm not going to lie to you, all respect for their team. And if we had more respect for ourselves, we would have blew them out by 60 points like they deserve to get blown out by a team like us. When you talk as much as they did and then play as bad as they did, you shouldn't walk away with only a 10-point deficit. And that just speaks to the lack of heart on our side, which is why I think of our team as a team that needs to overcome a soft label at this point that is valid and due, because you do not let people talk like they talk to us, have a lead like we had 28 points, and then only win by 10. I'm sorry. That tells me that you wasn't mad enough. That tells me that they didn't get to you in a way that made you get back at them in a way that makes us respect. That's what I say. Maybe you were happy with a 10-point win. Maybe you think you shut them up. But let me tell you, you ain't shut nobody up with no 10-point win when their best player walk away with a 22-point quarter. They still can talk. You know what I mean? So that's what it really comes down to. The Lakers are not setting up the Memphis Grizzlies, and that is a big problem for BDF 44. So that needs to start right now. We need to go out there, beat them. It's our home court. I do not expect to be disappointed or let down. I don't want to see excess unforced turnovers or bricked free throws, you know what I mean, or excess three-point shooting or too few three-point shots. These are things we've talked about. We want our defense to turn into offense the same way that it did in Game 3 in the first quarter. We jumped on top of that team with aggression from Anthony Davis, pure shooting from D'Angelo Russell, and various different things that worked for us. And I just saw us get away from those things when we saw it get to a point where we were comfortable. And we didn't commit to that in any way by removing our stars when we had that big lead. So we didn't buy ourselves any rest. We didn't play none of our players that otherwise need playing time in garbage time, especially since it's the playoffs and you want them to get that experience. I just think our coach really, really, really dropped the ball in a multitude of ways in that regard. You know what I mean? We're trying to buy rest here, and I don't think enough respect has been paid to that, not only in the playoffs, but leading up to it. So can we please be more respectful of the fact that we have players with health concerns and utilize their backups, play your bigs, and let these guys get the rest that they need so they can be 100% for the future series that we hope to be a part of. Because if you keep on playing only 7 to 8 players, trust you me, you're going to find out that those 8 players are going to get worn down. And so I'm a broken record when I say that, but I really do think it's key for not only us, for the rest of these teams in these playoffs. So, yeah, that's where my head is at all times. They're still going to be without Jake LaRavia. I think he has a broken something, so he won't be returning to these playoffs. But everybody else is expected to play for the Memphis Grizzlies. John Morant is fine. I think, from what I understand, all of our stars were listed as probable. You know how that goes. It was Schroeder, Bron, and AD probable. So, you know, as I look at Schroeder on the injury report, I just say, you know, this is why I need our coach to just be comfortable with playing Lonnie Walker, because you can put Austin at the 1 and then put Lonnie at the 2 and have the dynamic you're looking for. You're not lacking any ball handling, and you can still utilize Lonnie for what it's worth while having defense on the floor. Get him down there with Rui Hachimura. We're going to have a lot of scoring happen down there. You know what I mean? Those type of things, I think we just missing opportunities. So, yeah, man, I don't see any reason why we have to lean on Vanderbilt to be in the starting lineup. I would like us to kind of get away from him in the starting lineup, to be honest with you. I think everybody's pretty much said that. We like him. We don't mind him getting a lot of minutes. But we just don't think that we get off to the best start with him on the floor to start these games a lot of the time, unless he's going to be turning defense into offense. And since we have Anthony Davis in the lineup, being such a dominant defensive player, it seems to me that doubling down on more defense without the possibility of offense with that player makes no sense. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I want to double down on the possibility of being fantastic defensively, but I also can just kind of move a little bit away from some of that defense, bring myself just enough offense, and then still be really good defensively and have scoring ability as well. So it's like, I don't need to double down on Vanderbilt in the starting lineup. I would rather him be interchangeable with AD, although they play different positions. If we're doing it correctly, we still don't need them on the floor at the same time. You know what I mean? So these are different things that I'm hopeful we could just take a look at and try to make some sense of what we're doing so that we keep a good balance of scoring on the floor while still maintaining our defensive identity. And so, also, please stop cheating around screens and leaving three-point shooters open. It is the biggest pet peeve of watching the Los Angeles Lakers. We allow non-shooters and shooters both to shoot open shots sometimes. I just want to see us rushing it, guys. I like the way Rui Hachimura plays the perimeter. Why? Because he's not rushing at you. He's jumping up. Even if he's 12 feet away, he's going to allow himself to jump high and be long and tall. He's going to make sure his hands are up, and he's making sure that he jumps as high as he possibly can. That's really all we need you to do. Because if your energy or your inertia is sending you toward the player, then you're more than likely to foul him. You're more than likely to have him land, on your feet, which is a foul at all times. So I think Rui has the right idea, and players who do that have the right idea. It's not that you're actually trying to contest the shot, actually to block it. You just want to create something distracting in front of that person so that when they're shooting, they're not looking at what it is that they're ultimately supposed to be seeing, but something jumping in front of them. So if you watch Rui, it looks kind of funny because he's jumping up really, really high from like 10 feet away if he can't get out there. But that's exactly what every player in this league should be doing. If you know for a fact that your energy is going to take you straight into that player and have you foul him, you're not blocking the shot anyway. So you might as well do something like that and put yourself in a position to more so catch that long rebound while still being a distractor. And jumping up, the worst case scenarios, you get a piece of the ball, it's a three-point play. That's a goal 10 that goes 3 points. So we got to be careful when Rui does that, not to accidentally touch the ball when it's coming down as it goes into the basket. So these are things that we think about. But either way, AD, and when you see AD doing stuff like that, AD jumps straight into the air, 10 feet tall. You know what I mean? That's exactly what he's going to be with his hands up. So 11 feet tall even, who knows how his wingspan can affect a three-point shot, if he goes straight up instead of straight out toward that player. So these are things I think about, man. You know, how we keep from defiling people. How can we still be a deterrent to their shooting? How we can ultimately be better from behind the arc, or rather guarding the perimeter. So salute the Kobe minute. We are there. Of course, we're thinking about him on playoff time. Memphis Grizzlies. I remember him having a 56 and 3/4. I think that's how I went against Memphis, or 63 and 3/4. Definitely against Memphis. He did some spectacular stuff. So as he did against every other team in this league. And when it came to playoff time, it was no exception. So we expect our stars, whoever's wearing the uniform, to continue to do that. Make teams feel us, be a punishing force in this league while wearing our uniform. And that's what we hope to see from our guys. We were not pleased with how we ended the last game. We did not feel like we justifiably walked out of there like Lakers. We didn't. We let a team talk crazy. We punched them, and we let them get up and wipe themselves off as if that punch didn't really teach them nothing. I'm not cool with that. Okay, that's what it really comes down to. So I want my team to step up in game 4 on our home floor and win this game. Because at the end of the day, we're better than this team. They're undermanned. And while they have some good shooters, they also got some bad ones. And when they brick those shots, we need to be better to rebound and take off in the other way. So that's really where my head is, man. I have more questions about what we will see rather than commentary, really. I've said everything. If you want to watch some of my old videos leading up to this, I've talked a great deal about what I think in regards to the Memphis Grizzlies. At the end of the day, I'm just poised. This brain here is poised for Kenny Lofton to come out of nowhere and score 25, 30 points and be an unstoppable force. So at some point in time, I'm expecting that. I don't care if he hasn't used them dudes through 6 games. Game 7, he could always use that player and give us problems that we ain't seen yet. So we will stay on our toes for that. But aside from that, I'm just also curious to see if some of those bricks continue. Is Jones going to continue to shoot poorly in the series? Is Roddy going to continue to shoot bad? I mean, these guys have been bricking like madmen in our arena in that first game. So I'm curious to see if this is going to continue. And if it does, I think Memphis is in trouble just off the strength of them missing shots. So that's really what I'm curious to see. You can figure out all kinds of different stuff, but if that jump shot continues to be a problem for them, we're going to end this series early. So that's just something that's noteworthy as well. So that's really where my head is, man. Tillman could bounce back and have a big game. You know, he obviously had a fantastic game 2. Game 3, he could come back again. Don't think that we've seen the last of him. He's a heck of a defensive player on the perimeter too, so we got to be careful with him. Careful not to play around with the ball in front of him. He'll steal that from you, take it the other way. Big dude. So it's just different things I'm thinking about in regards to their team. But all in all, I'm also poised for Zaire Williams to come out of here and step forward too. He hasn't had a big series, and I know he's a big player, and he did have a big playoffs last year, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, look out for Zaire Williams and look out for Kenny Lofton. If those two players step up and play well, it won't be any surprise to me because they are actually players that I think could be the future. If they just develop those guys a bit more, they could pair up to be a really, really good tandem of players for this Memphis Grizzlies team for a long time. So that's what I see there, man. I'm just not going to be caught off guard by nothing they got. Dylan Brooks, even though he's a loud player, he's not better than most of those guys I just named right now. He's really not. And someday they're going to realize that and properly place him down the depth chart where he belongs. But until that time, we will benefit from his inept shooting and his bulletin board material that he continues to give us. So that's really where my head is. I'm just curious to see if he's going to try hitting somebody in the nuts tonight or, doing something stupid that would otherwise put his team in a position to lose him again, because that's obviously what happened in the last game. So, I don't think it did us any favors him being out of the game because, like I said, he bricks shots. So that's what it is, man. We can disrespect him if he's going to miss shots, but understand that Bron already told us not to do that before the playoffs, so we will make that noteworthy. This is a kid who can hit shots, but at the end of the day, he's been so disrespectful and so cold to if ever there was somebody you can play off 30 feet and watch him shoot, it's him. This is the guy. It's like, he's been disrespectful, so he deserves the disrespect that comes with being left open like that. And if he hits shots, lucky him. So that's really where I'm at with it, man. That is it. I will be happy when this Memphis team is behind us, honestly. I don't want to play any extra games with these guys. You know what I mean? I don't particularly like this team like that anyway. So let's get them out of the way. That is my attitude. And the only way we're going to do that is by being detail oriented, competitive in our nature, and ultimately better than we were in the last game. That's the only way you're going to do it. Because if you match that tonight, they're going to match that tonight, and they're going to beat you. I can tell you that right now. All that soft stuff we did in the fourth quarter, letting Ja jump around, do all kinds of none of that. We got to build a wall around him. We need to recognize that hand still isn't 100%, and we need to recognize that we have opportunities down there to turn him into somebody who fouls a lot. And that's what we need to do. Put Rui at him. Run Rui at him. You know what I'm saying? See if we can get him sealed on Rui Hachimura and watch Rui shoot over his head as he continues to swipe and stuff like that. That's what we need. So look out for Jaren Jackson on the weak side. We know how much of a punishing force he can be on both sides of the floor. So do not think for 1 second that you can just put a weak defender or something like that in front of Jaren and he won't go for 45. He will. So we have a healthy respect for the star power that they have. Baines, you guys know I respect Bane. Buff Reggie Miller. If he has like 9 threes tonight, it won't surprise me. That's what I'm saying. We got to respect the shooters that they got. They got very, very, very elite shooters. Elite. Kennard and Bane are elite shooters. Know this. As the series continues to progress, if we leave them guys open, they can hit every single one of those threes. We haven't seen their best. So that's what I want people to understand. Aside from that, all should be on the up and up. We're up 2-1 in the series. The game starts at 7 o'clock. Crypto.com Arena, a.k.a. Anxiety Arena. Hopefully our team can be as confident in this building as they were in Game 3 because I thought we looked pretty good. And that's really what it comes down to. Keep your foot on the gas because you know Laker fans do not respect that decompressed energy where everything's fine and you've done enough. Anything like that looks like you're not respecting the colors to us. So we want to see that energy all the way through. And that's going to be because the coach helps the players by not leaving them out there to be fatigued too much. You know what I mean? Let the other guys who ain't getting a chance to show us that energy also show us that energy. And that's how we get the most out of the LA Lakers. So that's what I got to say, man. Everybody enjoy the game. Good luck to our squad. Good luck to both teams staying healthy. And, of course, I'll have something for you at halftime and at the end of the game, as I always do. So that's what I got, man. BDL 44. Thank you all for watching.